All right. Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. And today we're going to really get into it with MK677. This compound that's been making a bit of a splash, right, for its potential muscle growth effects. We've got some excerpts, some articles, some interesting stuff to break down. And I think this one might be a little more complicated than just your typical supplement story.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, MK677 is interesting. It's definitely not, your average everyday supplement, so to speak. It really gets into some pretty complex hormonal systems in the body, goes beyond, just straight muscle building, which we'll definitely get into.
Right. Yeah. So maybe let's just start with the basics.
Yeah.
Like, what is this stuff? What is MK677?
Uh,
How does it actually work? I know in the excerpts they mentioned something about mimicking hormones.
Right. So MK677, the technical term for it is a ghrelin receptor agonist.
Yeah.
Now, ghrelin, that's a hormone that's naturally produced in your stomach.
Yep.
And it plays like a really key role in stimulating the release of growth hormone, the stuff that's super important for growth and development. Basically, what MK677 does is it tricks the body into thinking there's more ghrelin around. And that leads to, an increase in the production of growth hormone and another important growth factor called IGF-1.
So it's kind of like amplifying the body's natural growth process in a way, right?
Yeah.
By pretending to be this ghrelin.
Exactly. Yeah. It's sort of hijacking those pathways a little bit.
I see.
And what makes MK677 interesting, too, is that it can be taken orally.
Oh, okay.
Whereas a lot of the other compounds that kind of target these pathways, they have to be injected. So there's definitely a convenience factor there.
Yeah, that makes sense. That probably contributes to its, I don't know, popularity or at least, intrigue.
Yeah, for sure.
But, I mean, along with that, the excerpts mentioned some potential side effects. And, some of them were pretty serious. There was like this trial that had to be shut down early because of heart issues.
Right. Yeah.
What can you tell us about that?
So yeah, that trial, that was a pretty big deal because what happened was some of the participants taking MK677, they experienced, a pretty significant increase in blood pressure.
Oh, wow.
And water retention.
Oh, okay.
And that, that put them at risk for heart failure. So they actually had to stop the trial early because of safety concerns.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a real reminder, right? That even though something might look promising, easy gains, take a pill, no needles, that there can be some real downsides, some real risks.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely have to look at the whole picture.
Absolutely.
What about some of those other side effects that they mentioned?
Yeah.
Like they were talking about diabetes-like impacts and even potential bone density issues. Is that a thing?
Yeah, so this all kind of comes back to that, boost in growth hormone and IGF-1, which sounds great on the surface, right? Muscle growth. But it can also mess with your insulin sensitivity. So basically that means your body doesn't process sugar as well.
Okay.
And that can lead to high blood sugar, kind of like you see with diabetes.
I see.
And then with the bone density thing, that's still being researched.
Yeah.
But there is some evidence that chronically elevated growth hormone over long periods of time, it may not be that great for bone health.
Oh, interesting. So it's really like a bit of a trade-off situation then. You might get the muscle growth, but it could be at the expense of other parts of your health.
Yeah, you could say that. It's like pushing one side of a seesaw up, but then the other side goes down.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
And the thing with MK677 too is that we really don't fully understand the long-term consequences.
Right. It's still pretty new, right?
Relatively, yeah.
They also kept mentioning this thing called HbA1c levels. I have to admit, I don't really know what that is. Can you break that down for us?
Sure, yeah. So HbA1c, it's essentially like a snapshot of your average blood sugar levels over the past 2 to 3 months.
Oh, okay.
It's like a long-term measure, right?
Yeah.
And it's really important for diagnosing and managing diabetes.
Okay.
So if you have high HbA1c, it means your blood sugar has been consistently high, which, like we talked about, that's one of the potential side effects of MK677.
So even if someone isn't, feeling any symptoms, if their HbA1c is high, that's a bit of a red flag.
Exactly. It could be an early warning sign that things aren't quite right with their blood sugar control, even if they're not experiencing any obvious symptoms.
Got it.
And it really highlights the importance of, regular monitoring.
Yeah.
Especially with any substance, really, that can affect your metabolism.
That makes a lot of sense. So, I mean, it seems like the research is, it's still kind of early.
Yeah, there's still a lot we don't know.
If you were to give like one main takeaway for someone who's thinking about using MK677, what would it be?
I think the most important thing is to remember that it's not a magic bullet.
Right.
There are potential benefits, but also potential risks. And we don't have the whole picture yet when it comes to the long-term effects. So, you really got to weigh those factors carefully and think about your overall health and well-being.
Well said. Think about the long game,
Exactly.
not just the quick fix. All right, everyone, that's our deep dive for today. I hope you found this one informative and a little thought-provoking. As always, do your own research, make informed decisions, and stay safe out there. We'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, and remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's always more to learn, so keep asking questions, keep digging deeper, and most importantly, stay curious.